The Big 12 Game of the Week, Oklahoma Sooners and West Virginia Mountaineers on the Big 12 College Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, is brought to you by Bet365. Bet365 is offering new users a $1,000 risk-free bet. Sign up today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the betting research platform for parlays, props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use that code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase today. Welcome, everybody, back to the Big 12 College Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Tuesday, November 7th. Crossfire we got going on. We got football. We got basketball. I can't keep track of all these games. Tally site, thank God for that. I don't even know what game I picked last. We got so many goddamn games going on in this great landscape of college athletics and in the Big 12. If you're wondering who you're listening to, I am Moneyline Mac, a.k.a. the former video coordinator for the 1-0 Bob Huggins West Virginia Mountaineers and South Carolina Gamecocks, the UMass Minutemen of Frank Martin will be tipping off here soon. So, and if you're wondering who is joining me on the Big 12 College Experience, the first man up in the box, he was born in Provo, Utah. He's got family in Ames, Iowa, but he lives in Morgantown, West Virginia. So, he had a good weekend when he beat his former team growing up. And he's a new married man, Rambling Rush. What's up, man?
Thank you, guys. Great wedding. It was awesome you were there. It was great to lay a smack. Of course, the game I can't catch. We went 37-7, but hey, that's a good problem. I'm not complaining. Voice is a little hoarse from the wedding. And then I went to the basketball game last night and got even more hoarse. So, hey, it's all good. It means it was all done right. We had a great weekend, boys. Hope you had fun. But hey, it's good to be back talking the Big 12.
Indeed it is. And again in the middle, he's got his eyes right off the Bedlam series win for his Pokes over the Oklahoma Sooners, which we all were on. I hope everybody cashed on that. But he's
got this dirty rag on this week.
Yeah, we paid him to wear that shit because he is the Big 12 guru, the green mowing, weed growing, Big 12 guru. Troy Chewning, what's up, man?
The difference between us trying to relay scores to Rush up at the bride and groom's table during the Oklahoma State game versus the West Virginia game where there was at least 45, 60 people that had it on their phones. Just you could hear the two people that had their phones that were like a second earlier than everyone else because they would cheer real quick and then everybody else would kind of be like, "Oh, we scored again! Oh, cool."
Yeah.
Well, you didn't really miss much in that game. So
the best is like Bedlam's going on. I'm at the sweetheart table and like Ryan just stands up. He's like 17-14, and I just hold up my wrist. I'm like time. And then you guys gave me, it was like 7 minutes or whatever. It was great. We looked like we were on a college sideline giving each other hand signals and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was that uninvited guy was standing over by the entrance to the little the tarped area where we were having dinner. Did you not see the guy with like the recording glasses on? He was watching our signals. He's gonna relay them.
Is he working in Michigan?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, well, actually, let's go right into that game. We'll recap all the games, but I mean, can you say anything else about the man, the myth, the legend? I mean, this guy, the final laugh goes to Coach Gundy. Rush, I know you didn't get much eyes on it, so I'm going to go to Troy. I know Rush did get able to see the highlights. It was at 3:30 o'clock in the morning, which really was 4:30 in the morning. So after about 30 cocktails and 30 beers and a couple Jaeger bombs, fireballs, whatever it was, and it's a McDonald's late night snack. Troy, what was your takeaway, man? Ollie Gordon and the Cowboys keep rolling and rolling and rolling.
That seemed, I mean, that was just an attitude adjustment game. That was the Mike Gundy just letting them know, we're not playing you again unless we see you in the college football playoff. That's what he said after the game. He was like, we're not playing them again unless we play them in the college football playoff. And it's hilarious to say that, knowing Oklahoma State has a way bigger percentage chance to get into the playoff just being in the Big 12 conference compared to Oklahoma now being in the SEC. Man, it's all, I mean, that's, who cares what the overall record of Bedlam is? Getting the last one, at least the last one for what we know, that's got to be good. That's, I mean, it's redemption. I mean, Gundy threw the ball. I'm pretty sure it was Hartley Dykes and dropped the ball right in his chest in the end zone against Oklahoma. Would have won the game. That's you know, I think that was 1984 or something like that. Yeah. That's redemption, baby. Finally got it back after all these years.
Indeed. I mean, he who laughs last laughs best. And Gundy's the one laughing last. Rush, what was your takeaway after watching some of the highlights and replay of this game? This team, they won't quit, man.
Dude, they won't. And I think the better Oklahoma team is staying in the Big 12, and I think they're going to be better for it. I think Oklahoma has a real chance. And pardon me, because this is hard too, because we're at the end of the day, right? We're all college football fans. We all want the sport to do well. We all, you know, we want what's best for the sport. And sometimes that includes like maybe teams we don't like doing well, because it does bring up these great matchups, right? But dude, there's a chance Oklahoma could go to the SEC and we may not hear from them again, or hear from them from a very long time. And Oklahoma State gave it to Oklahoma, got the last laugh, is staying in a conference in time for the playoff to expand to 12 teams, which benefits Oklahoma State staying in the Big 12 way more than it does OU going to the SEC. And it's, you know, we joked about it. Well, actually, we literally acted it out in our preseason trailer with the whole, like, I put on the Oklahoma polo and fell, and Troy was laughing at me. But it's like, there's a reason we did that. Like, we saw this coming. And so it's nice to see the good guys win. Gundy's Gundy, always gets the last laugh. It always, at least for us West Virginia Mountaineers, it always seems that way too. And hey, watch out. Everyone talked about Texas and Oklahoma State not playing this year, but it might be an orange Big 12 championship.
And to think that we were a couple of weeks into the season asking if Mike Gundy had lost this locker room and thinking that Brent Venables had turned it around. And now you're thinking Brent Venables might lose this locker room real quick. I know it's the game of the week and we're previewing it, and I'm still wearing this dirty maroon rag, but we went from nice guy Neal to Neal's last stand. Now this could be the nail in the coffin. Neal's charge. Neal's final charge. This is Gettysburg, baby.
But
indeed,
what's nuts is this, and I know we got to cover these other games, and we have to talk about the Oklahoma West Virginia game coming up. But I would not be surprised. It sounds crazy if Oklahoma loses their last 5 games. With us coming, then they have to go to Provo, and then I think they have TCU. And if you're playing, like, if you lost 4 in a row, OU's not like, they don't care about the last game of the season. They're just ready to go to the SEC. It is not out of the realm of possibility at all for Oklahoma to lose their last 5.
No, not at all. We talked about it, man. They'd only played 1 road game. They headed into this back-to-back road stretch, so they had gotten the nice schedule, and you give them credit. They took advantage of it, but now they're having to go on the road. They're playing physical teams, and boy, that defense has some big-time holes, and we'll talk about that when we actually dive into the game of the week. But Oklahoma definitely a little bit in free fall mode. And
Oklahoma did a pretty good job of, stopping up Ollie Gordon. I know he still had 130 yards, but it took him 30 plus carries to get there. You're probably okay with that. The issue was Alan Bowman just made just enough throws as usual. Yeah. One more than you need. I mean, it's crazy that I guess it was kind of foreshadowing when I was talking about Malik Murphy is probably a better quarterback to have instead of Quinn Ewers, just from a full talent standpoint. After Dylan Gabriel started missing some of those easy throws, and the UCF game they barely snuck out probably should have been a big red flag that, Jackson Arnold was a guy that's just standing there on the sidelines that's significantly taller, doesn't get passes batted. The intermediate part of the field is way more open for him just because of his stature. You can't be afraid in today's college game. If somebody's off, you can't be afraid to just put that next guy in there and hope that it sparks the team or something like that. And they're going to live and die by Dillon Gabriel, and it looks the same as it always has. Dillon Gabriel punks the bad teams and then doesn't really show up in some of these bigger games.
Completely. And let's go to the other team that usually doesn't come up clutch, that got extremely lucky, and that's the logo on youtube.com/college experience horns down. K-State gave them this game, man. K-State gave them this game with their mistakes in the first half. They were down, 17-0, 27-7 when they had the fumble to start the second half. Come all the way back, going to take the lead, and they can't even get off the fucking extra point. Then they miss a 26-yarder. Texas lucky as hell to get out of this, man. Troy, I know you were pissed off, just like myself, watching this game, because this was the luckiest win of the year for Texas.
All Kansas State had to do was maybe throw the ball 2 or 3 more times in the first half, and then they're sitting at like 17-14 at halftime instead of 17-7.
Yeah.
Also, because of how the momentum's going in the game, kick the 3 points, take the ball, score a touchdown, and look at Malik Murphy and force him to make a mistake, because that whole second half, that's all he had done.
I like Chris Kleiman a lot. I don't get that at all.
It was just a little too gutsy for me. Maybe if you look like a genius if you get it, and you look like an idiot if you don't get it, but you got to run something kind of exotic. If you're going to go for it there, you got to use one of the best plays you have in the playbook and probably not use it at all for the rest of the year. And I don't know, it seemed like it was a little too quick after you fire back in that game. Just keep delaying it, keep pushing it off, kick the field goal. I mean, even if it gets to 2-point conversion, I don't know. It just seemed like they didn't take into account at all how poorly Malik Murphy played in the second half.
Completely agree. Rush, what was your takeaway?
Well, what's funny about this game is we were screaming at it as like I was about to walk down the aisle. That's what was really funny, is like we were gathered around the TV, the wedding planner comes and's like, all right, 10 minutes. And we're like, oh, this game. Well, the bad thing is actually if the game went into a third overtime, we might have just missed it. But unfortunately, Texas. But I agree. They needed to kick the field goal there. I don't know what it was. It seemed like every time Kansas State would get in 1st and goal and they would just get tight. I remember on that last drive, what was it, in overtime, where Avery Johnson, he had a wide open lane to go to the end zone and win the game, and he just goes the wrong, like they panicked. Yeah. They felt like instead of just kind of feeling it out and kind of just taking that extra second to just see where's my hole opening up, they just wouldn't. They felt like they had to do it, and they kind of got the yips when they got down there. And then, of course, the extra point being missed and that other field goal being missed. We know Texas is they always kind of jump out to these leads at first. It's who they are. It's whether it's on a macro or micro level scale, whether it's at the season scale or literally within the game itself. Texas always kind of gets out to these starts, and then it's like Texas will Texas and they'll fall. But the reason they do that is because these other coaches like Kleiman usually step up and do what they're supposed to do to make that happen. And it just didn't happen. I'm glad it turned out to be a game. Of course, I'm glad Kansas State covered from a gambling perspective, but they have no excuse for losing that game whatsoever. Not even close. They had chance after chance to win it, and they just choked.
Yeah. If you're gonna get it to 1st and 6, 1st and goal at the 6, and you're gonna go for it on 4 downs, I think you got to run it 4 straight times. If you can't get 6 yards on 4 carries,
especially if you're Kansas State.
Yes, like they ran it once. I think they got to the 4.5 yard line. Then you throw it 3 straight times. Why not run it again and get it to the 2 yard line? And then you got 2 cracks at it. If that's what you're going to do, I would rather take the field goal, because I'm with Troy, where I think Malik Murphy, he was tight. I mean, he was making mistake after mistake. K-State had clearly rattled him. They hit him a couple times, and he was late. He was missing throws left and right. I think you got to make him beat you.
I'm okay if you want to pass it once, because you're in the 6. It gives you a little more spacing to do that than, of course, if you're at the 1 or 2. But I'm also doing that in mind, knowing that I'm okay taking the field goal. And it was the complete opposite. It's let's run once, pass 2-3 times and not take the field goal. It just seems so backwards to me. And I just feel like we know this. Kleiman is such a better coach than I just got tight.
Yeah.
And you can't, and usually we don't see that in Kansas State. We usually see them, got our quarterback down. Got him right where we got him. Let's go second string. Let's go out there and win it. And it was just unfortunate. It was too bad Kansas State couldn't win that game.
I just can't believe that they neglected to dictate any of the tempo, even once they got back into the game later on.
Yeah.
Like once you get within a touchdown, you can go back to playing ground and pound Kansas State football. And you don't, I mean, you're no longer forced to try to get back into the game and speed things up. I mean, that really was the issue. It seemed like they were just going like a tick too fast for their own good. And yeah, not giving themselves enough time to process anything or let the game come to them. They were just going out of their way. And a lot of the way that Texas is winning these games is very reminiscent of how Oklahoma was winning some of their games. It's really not that far off.
Yep. Great point, Troy. I mean, and Oklahoma barely got by UCF at home. I know K-State's a better team than UCF, but Texas had barely got by Houston. They've been limping these last couple weeks. I know they blew it open late against BYU, but that score did not reflect what that game actually was. And now all of a sudden, Texas has a back-to-back road spot coming down the stretch. Sound familiar? We just saw Oklahoma hit the road back-to-back in November, and we saw what they did, 0-2. So I think it's setting up perfectly for the Frogs to knock out the Longhorns because let's be honest, too, TCU's had these guys' number over the years. And I know Texas is better than TCU this year, but weird things happen to Texas when they hit the road. Shit, they should have lost to Houston if they weren't bailed out by that officiating crew. So,
the Texas alumni officiating crew.
Yes. Don't even get me started. All right, I'll tell you what I will talk about. We're brought to you by Bet365 because it's the world's favorite sports book, trusted by over 88 million players worldwide. Props, sides, totals, live betting. Bet365 has everything you need covered. And if you like boosts, you're going to love the Bet365, like a 30% profit boost on your NFL same-game parlay. Plus, they have an opportunity for early payout if your team goes up 17 points. Shit, if you had Texas, you could have cashed out right there and not had to sweat that out. Sign up today and choose from 2 bonus offers, either a $1,000 first bet safety net or bet 5 to get $150 in bonus bets. Just head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. And if you got a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All righty, we're back on the Big 12 College Experience, diving into the rest of the slate it was. Let's go over to, we all ate shit on this. Most impressive win that was way under the radar was the Kansas Jayhawks.
Yeah.
Kansas Jayhawks, I mean, that they go into Ames and say, we don't care that you're the hottest team in the Big 12. They took it to them. They were up 21-3. Troy, what was your takeaway with this Jayhawk win?
I mean, anybody that can win a game after you take down the goalpost and throw them in the lake, you're already handicapping yourself down 3 to 4 points. Just, the other team gets to see your guys storm the field and light cigars and, do all that kind of stuff. That's usually for motivation, and that's usually a fade spot. And you got to give Kansas credit for, beating the fade spot. And we had them at 9 wins. We have an over ticket on the Kansas Jayhawks winning games. And for some reason, they go 6-0 last year, and they start the season 6-0 this year, and people are just now saying, like, oh, this team, this is not a fluke. Kansas is good at football. No shit.
Yeah. Well, welcome to college basketball.
Yeah,
football. Sorry.
The football team is good enough to make enough money to give Bill Self $53 million.
Rush, what was your takeaway from these Jayhawks? 7-2, and Dallas is still alive for these guys.
My takeaway is Jalen Daniels is done being their quarterback officially.
Yeah.
Jason Bean era.
Florida State next year.
Wherever. It's not going to be Kansas. That's what I know. Good for Jason Bean. We definitely saw flashes of it last year, but he could never quite finish it this year, obviously. And the circumstances were different, when he got trotted out against Texas and that, that loss. And it wasn't a great loss, but He's really come alive. He's gotten better every game, and in a spot to fade Kansas, in a spot where no matter who you are, most teams don't live up to that next game unless you're a playoff team. But besides that, everyone kind of falls from there. Stepped up, did a great job, beat Oklahoma, and now beat Iowa State in Ames. So, hey, this is a great win for the quarterback, great win for Kansas, 7-2. Yeah, Dallas is not far behind, and Kansas better start using that Bill Self money to pay Lance Leipold, or he's going to be out of there too.
Yeah, so we've talked about the 2 5-1 teams. That's Oklahoma State and Texas. Then we have a 5-way tie at 4-2. We talked about Kansas and Iowa State. They both are 4-2. Kansas having the tiebreaker. Oklahoma and K-State both lose those games to get to 4-2. Then there's another 4-2 team that quietly had one of the more impressive wins, and not from a biased take. West Virginia just beat the absolute shit out of BYU. 600 yards of offense, 300 plus on the ground. I mean, I know BYU had a backup quarterback, but that doesn't have anything to do with rushing for 300 plus yards on the ground, 7.5 yards a carry. Rush. How about those Mountaineers? They're back in the thick of things.
How about those Mountaineers? And let me give a shout out to the old team. And we did have the Bishop Bowl this past weekend. My dad, mom, Peyton, my uncle, all BYU fans were in attendance and got a nice beat down this weekend as well, 37-7. But hey, West Virginia fans, and I think other fan bases are learning this about BYU. What a great program they are in terms of being hospitable, their fans. I mean, BYU ran on the field carrying a West Virginia flag, the state of West Virginia, not the WU logo, and stayed on the field for country roads at the end. And their fans, I asked people, how were the BYU fans? Did they show up? And they're like, yeah, they showed up. They were great to everyone. This is a great team to have into the Big 12, and they'll win. They'll probably beat Oklahoma, but they'll win. They got Iowa State, Oklahoma, then Oklahoma State. So they'll probably win one more game and be 6-6 in the Big 12. And hey, getting a bowl your first year in the Big 12, you had injuries. Your offensive line is kind of non-existent. Injured quarterback. I mean, that's really good. BYU's here to stay, and they will be a threat for years to come. But let's transfer to West Virginia. That does not happen. But Ryan, it's what we've been saying on our show, the Ryan and Rush show, is if West Virginia plays a complete game, is you can win by that margin. You don't have to make every game ugly. Yeah, at first you kind of did because you were figuring out your identity still and what you're capable of. But Garrett Greene's a dual threat quarterback, and he can come. He's a leader. He's a dog. The guy can sling the ball. He can run it himself. He's really good at managing RPO situations and those types of things. I mean,
and he doesn't do that stupid late fucking slide either.
No, he doesn't. Yes. The guy's a Swiss Army knife. He's an incredible quarterback, and we're lucky that he's here to stay. And that was his first start against Oklahoma. We'll get to this game in a bit, of course, as we talked about. But dude, I'm feeling great about this team. This can they can win these last 3 games and be 9-3. And have a chance at Dallas. Now, that Oklahoma State loss was probably going to be the one that ends up costing them in the long run. But, dude, this program, West Virginia, Neal Brown, yeah. Troy puts in the comments, extend Neal. He had his last stand. And, hey, if he finishes 8-4, 9-3, you have no choice but to keep him around for next year. And maybe it took him 5 years. Better late than never, I guess. But if he's able to go 9-3, 8-4, which we'll be still more than happy with, get above that 7-game win. Because, when you get to 8, you get to those kind of a little bit better bowls. And you think of his 3 losses at Penn State to start the season, fluky loss against Houston. And then you got a special teamer running in to ourselves, and Oklahoma State ends up, winning that game. I mean, not great losses, but I mean, it's not like you got blown out either. So, hey, just keep it going. But it was nice to see a complete game. All that to say, it was really nice to see it, even though I saw the highlights. It's really nice to see a complete game for this Mountaineer team. It's really nice to see their ceiling and know what they're capable of. And it was nice to see them not look ahead to Oklahoma as well. I'm really happy with this West Virginia football team, as I know you are, Ryan, as well.
Yep. Troy, how about you?
We're what? 2 plays away from talking about West Virginia finishing the season maybe 10-1. 10 wins or something like that.
Yeah.
You have to extend Neal no matter what. He's shown this year that
you don't have to extend Neal. You can bring him back next year, though.
No, you have to give him the extension now before he wins another 8 or 9 games next year. The fact that they can zag when everybody else is going to the spread it out and cha-cha-cha, and you see the fucking Oklahoma State and West Virginia, like the only team that really stomped a mud hole and like physically took West Virginia away from what they want to do was Oklahoma State. And to be honest, if Oklahoma State played Texas right now in the Big 12 championship game, I would alternate spread at 9.5. They're gonna completely out physical the way they match up against like a supposedly super physical Texas team. I think both West Virginia and Oklahoma State would be able to beat Texas the way that they're playing right now. I think that it would be really easy for both of them to just control the line of scrimmage and play a more of an old school style. That's exactly what we asked Neal Brown to do throughout all the preseason was just don't do anything stupid. You can always just simplify it, and your team is going to have the talent to be able to do that simple thing. And here we are. Let's fucking run it down their throat because we have an offensive line of guys that block, and I don't think that changes against Oklahoma. I think there's a chance that this could be 35-14 or something like that too.
Yeah, if they control the line of scrimmage, I mean, we'll see. We'll talk about it here just in a second.
Soft. They're going up against a soft team.
We'll dive into that real quick. Let's talk about the other 3 games. I mean, we'll just do the scores. Texas Tech survives. Texas Tech survives against TCU, 35-28.
Yeah, turn the ball over.
Yeah, both teams.
I mean, that was just home cooking.
Yeah, both teams are 4-5, so both need to win 2 out of 3 to get to bowl eligible. Houston might sneak into a bowl game, man. They're 4-5. Dana's done a good job with this team, in my opinion, in year number 1 in the Big 12. He should have beat Texas. He should be 5-4, but he still kept him 4-5. They win it on a 2-point conversion at Baylor. Baylor continues to
horns
be a
down
dumpster
play.
Fire. Yes. And
Will Greer, horns down.
UCF beats Cincinnati by 2. Emory Jones finally covers a game. The Bearcats have lost 7 in a row. Troy, do you want to sound off on any of those 3? I guess they're dumpster fire games at the end of that slate there.
I mean, I know I said to stay away from the man. Oh, Baylor's just not. They're back to. I mean, kind of the whole year they've looked like they don't really care. That UCF comeback was definitely a fluke outlier. That you're never going to see the team play like that again. And man, I know I said to stay away from the UCF Cincinnati game, but for Cincinnati to cover and not win is crazy. And fuck Emory Jones. Just fuck that guy. I didn't lose any money on it. I didn't bet any money on it. I just lost my pride and my chance to possibly get every game right in a Big 12 slate because this dumb motherfucker scored just enough to cover. What a bitch.
Do you know what
Cincinnati is bowling eligible, though. So they're the first one that will not be bowling in the Big 12. 2-7 overall. They beat Pitt, though. That was their last win. Eat shit, Pitt.
That makes me so happy. You know what's funny? As I was looking at, because the ACC schedule came up, those soft, and they only play 8 conference games as well. So I'm like, I was curious what Pitt's 4 games were next year because they have 8 conference games. So they had to play 4 non-con. They're at Cincinnati and then have us again. It's the same schedule as it was. So we might got another thing there, but that's to the side. Do you know what I think of when I think of this Cincinnati UCF game? I think of that like 30 for 30 voice. It's like, what if I told you the Cincinnati Bearcats would cover a spread but lose the game? And then I think the reply is like, well, then Emory Jones is their quarterback. It's like, this is Troy. We called this, we might get a little day to day, like the week by weeks wrong. We might finally be like, all right, maybe it is Cincinnati's week. Dude, we called Emory Jones from the start. People were like, oh, Emory Jones, he's going to Cincinnati. He's going to like figure it out. He'll get it right here. And I remember that. And Troy were like, fuck, no, he's not. You think he's joining Satterfield, who did an amazing job at Louisville? And do you think they're going to
Yeah, amazing job at Louisville. As soon as he leaves, they're going to make the ACC championship and maybe finish with 1 or 2 losses in a season.
Let me ask you this. So who do you put this more on, Emory Jones or Scott Satterfield this year?
I mean, Scott Satterfield's the one that thought that Emory Jones was somewhat of a solution, so it's got to be Scott Satterfield. And to go get Emory Jones and not get, like for lack of better words, like a second tier transfer, just in case Jones is exactly what he always has been.
Spencer Sanders.
I mean,
who the fuck is their backup? He must be atrocious if you keep putting Emory Jones out there. Like who?
So Satterfield, it's only year 1, so he's not going to get fired after 1 year. No. But
might get fired after 2, though.
He might get fired after 2 if they don't.
1.5.
If they go to Houston this weekend and they go to West Virginia and they finish with Kansas, if they go 0-9 and then next year they go like 2-7, he's got to be out. You can't. I mean, they were just in the playoff a couple years
If you go 0-9, Ryan, and then you start, dude, if you don't get a Big 12 win within your first 3 games, you're out then. It's not even going to be a full 2 years. You got it.
I kind of agree.
Yeah.
This has been a nightmare because it's not like they're like UCF, where UCF has been close in games. They like almost winning in Norman. Cincinnati, this is like their first close game since Oklahoma, it felt like. And they've been getting drilled.
It's also probably good to note that it's not a job that's located in like Lubbock, Texas, or Stillwater, Oklahoma. It's Cincinnati, Ohio. There's plenty of fucking football guys in the Midwest that would love the job in Cincinnati. Finding somebody for that job is not going to be that difficult. I mean, obviously it is because they tried Scott Satterfield, but I wouldn't. I mean, if they go 0-9 and they don't get a big splash somewhere in like they should probably be in on Jalen Daniels. I mean,
everybody should be on Jalen Daniels.
But I mean, I would almost say that non-con game to Pitt. Like if they lose that non-con game to Pitt next year and they don't win in a Big 12 game, maybe Scott Satterfield is Neal Brown. And Neal Brown was right the whole time about the slow climb. And Scott Satterfield thought he was going to show up to like an awesome program and there was no climb needed. Like I'm already at the top. Not so fast.
Not so fast.
The Skyline Chili weighs you down, buddy. You can't be packing on the 5-way pasta chili bowls all day long. It's sad to see a program like Cincinnati get their chance in a conference like this and not really have. I mean, the defensive talent that they have it's
good enough.
They just need. I mean, if they had gotten a guy like like Donovan Smith or Alan Bowman would have been a guy that would easily Cincinnati would have 2 or 3 conference wins by now.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, it's like you said, Troy, you don't even necessarily need a big name. It's like at least
just put the running back in and run the ball every play. Fuck Emory.
That, or just someone like teach one of a kid to hey, this is going to be a tough year. Okay, so be it. We'll figure it out, and you will be seasoned to go into next year. Yep. Like they're Garrett Greene 2 years ago or last year. Like, all right, let's ride your back. And you got to at least find someone enough that can game manage where if you have 500 yards of offense can get you a win.
Yeah, you got to what they got to do is they got to make sure they get an awesome kicker in the transfer portal and maybe sign like Brian Ferentz as an offensive analyst. And anytime you get inside the 28-yard line, we're kicking. I don't care if it's first down. We're kicking, baby. We're taking these points.
Luke Fickell might be back there in 2 years because shit ain't working at Wisconsin either. They just got their ass beat by Indiana. Of all teams, so
that never got brought up on the wedding day. By the way, Ryan, still haven't heard it at all from.
Oh my god, I saw the score. I was like,
about that.
I was like, are you fucking kidding me, Wisconsin? But if you want to go to a Cincinnati game, well, I don't even know if you need game time because you probably could just walk in at this point. But if you want to go to any of the other 13 schools that are worth the shit right now, get over to Game Time because you can buy tickets to your favorite events because they shouldn't be stressful. Game Time has a fast, easy way for all sports, music, comedy, theater near you with killer last-minute deals. And you can start getting hyped for all the fun you're going to have. Forget planning in advance. Game Time has all the deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. And, of course, they guarantee you the best price possible on Game Time. Get images of your seats so you know where you're going. You don't need all that fucking obstructed view that jackass Daniel Snyder used to rip all Redskins fans off. Hey, buy this ticket for $99.99. Boom. Next thing you know, you're behind a goddamn pole at that shithole FedEx Field. But hey, download the Game Time, create an account, CFBX, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, CFBX, $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, price, lowest price guaranteed. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, because you can win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season. The NFL betting platform for parlays, props, and game lines. Research all sports with historical data and stats. Enter any parlay into the Hall of Fame Bets revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get every leg broken down so you know which one has the best value. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching Hall of Fame Bets to craft a more intelligent, data-driven parlay. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All righty, let's get right into it. That's week 10 in the books. We already talked about the standings, where we sit. Let's get over to the game of the week. The only battle of 2 4-2 teams in this league. And it's our West Virginia Mountaineers rush versus Troy's Oklahoma Sooners. Two teams going in opposite directions right now. Mountaineers, winners of 2 in a row. Sooners, losers of 2 in a row, coming back to Norman. Troy, what are you looking for out of your Sooners in this matchup, other than a little bit of pride?
I'm thinking that I'm going to continue to bring it up, but if Dylan Gabriel is not going to be accurate within 15 yards, they need to start looking forward to preparing for the big bad SEC. And this time, it's probably good for Oklahoma to go to the SEC, because these back-to-back losses, they would be playing like Incarnate Word this week. So they would get a nice tune-up spot in the third week in November, just like the SEC loves to do. But
great point.
I just don't see this Oklahoma defense stopping West Virginia, and they had a tough time. Obviously, they committed to it to kind of slow down the Olive Garden, but Garrett Greene's better than Alan Bowman. He's
100%.
He's better than Alan Bowman for sure. You can throw slants against Oklahoma 50% of the time, and you'll probably convert 70% of those throws. Yeah. Man, I'm looking for some kind of an alternate line for West Virginia to win this game by double digits.
I hope you're right. I think it's going to be a tight game. Were you shocked by the line?
What is it? Is it still 12 and a half?
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here with this.
That's easy. You if you're watching this show right now, take the 12 and a half right away. There's no way that this stays at 12 and a half, right?
I got to think that. I guess people are banking on a bounce back for Oklahoma, but every time I've said, get the fuck out of here with these lines, I've been right on cue. Whether it's UCF on the road as a 7-point dog, and
this is still
TCU,
this is still like a 14th place team line that they're giving to West Virginia.
I've never seen a team that actually produces and wins football games just keep getting disrespected line after line after line. I thought the line was actually kind of disrespectful to BYU this last week, and I was dead wrong on that one. Rush, this is crazy. Once again, this is like TCU in Fort Worth.
Do you know what I love about this? How we were just 13-point favorites, and we handled it well, obviously, and now we get to go back to being dogs. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, there's a different feeling right now. It's usually, we're dogs. We like to get backed into a corner. It's where we excel. But this time, Oklahoma leaving for the SEC. We all remember what happened last time West Virginia was in Norman. Basically, a game West Virginia should have won if it wasn't for a bad snap or a stupid penalty. We finally got them last year in Morgantown, but that wasn't a satisfying win. That was Oklahoma kind of already on the come down. This game's going to mean more than West Virginia than it will Oklahoma. Like I said at the start of this show, I would not be surprised if Oklahoma loses these last 5 games. The fact that we're plus 13 or 12 and a half or whatever it's around right now, I guess you have it up on the screen there. It's a joke. I don't know if I'm going double digits for West Virginia, Troy, but at least money line. I mean, the
definitely
spread's
the
the
money line.
easiest. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is definitely UCF. I felt a little different, Ryan, but this is like, I saw this line. I'm like, I remember us looking at it. What was it? Sunday morning. And I'm like, all right, like I got pretty hammered yesterday, but I can get that hammered. Like this is a joke. Like,
yeah,
it's yeah. I'm all over. Hey, isn't this another primetime game for West Virginia? 7 o'clock Fox.
Fox, baby, let's go.
There we go. I mean, West Virginia national brand.
Dynamite. We've been dynamite in these Saturday primetime games.
Yeah.
Beat the shit out of Pitt, just choked them out. Beat TCU in Fort Worth. Beat the cover off of BYU. I mean, we've been good on these Saturday primetime spots. I love our chances Saturday night.
I do,
Troy. If the Sooners are going to have a success, what's a matchup that they could have success in? Because the line's 12.5 for them. I still don't get it, but obviously people think Oklahoma's going to bounce back, I guess. Where would it be if they are to bounce back?
I mean, you kind of have to go away from any of the like physical ability hype, or, you know, we expected this guy to be a better running back than he really was, or anything like that. The only dude that tries his ass off every single play is little ass white boy Drake Stoops. And the fact that they don't get him the ball more is kind of weird, because, you know, you see them when they go to that super high tempo and they're trying to score at the end of halves and at the end of the games, they've been pretty successful. I mean, even that Kansas game, they moved the ball down the field really quick to give themselves at least a chance, right? Those are all plays to Drake Stoops, and he's the only one that's smart enough to know to run out of bounds or know to like call a timeout as soon as he falls over. I think the only thing, like the only matchup that's going to work well for them would be the little white kid. And I don't know how well it's going to go. I really don't. I think if Oklahoma wants to win this game, they got to go to Jackson Arnold. I don't really trust Dillon Gabriel right now. And that's after 5 straight weeks of banging like $1,400 worth of Dillon Gabriel props on the regular. Don't take any of those props now.
Yes. Yeah, it seems like physically he's wearing down. I'm with you, Troy.
For
he's
sure.
He's little, man. He's we kind of see it with 2 in the NFL. These little guys wear down over the course of a season. Rush, from the West Virginia side, what's your biggest concern matchup-wise?
Matchup-wise,
They do have some explosive guys on the offense.
They do. It's kind of what Troy was saying, is if we get like burned by Stoops, like this secondary, well, it has stepped up, and Beanie Bishop has been incredible. He's finally getting some national recognition, and I know it took a second, but putting together 2 defensive games like we did, and we've done it before, so it's not that we're asking too much. We saw it against Texas Tech and then TCU. 2 pretty good defensive games there. Could have been a little better, yeah, maybe, but I guess they put together a couple, because even going to Pitt and before that, but I guess that was Duquesne, but at least 3. So to beat Oklahoma, I mean, you're still going to have to replicate what you did against BYU. You're still going to have to play perfect, but now they know that they can. And when you know you can do something, you're able, it's a lot easier to replicate it. And I really hope our secondary can step up again. And I hope that they can, because I do think there is something with the mindset, right? You know, we talk about in the NFL with Belichick against, you know, younger quarterbacks, how it's like, oh, we're eating today, boys, a younger quarterback. I want them to have that same mindset. I know it's Dillon Gabriel. I know he's a little bit on the decline, but it's like, oh, we got to warn down Dillon Gabriel. It's time to eat again, boys. Because I know sometimes when you go against these big teams in Norman, for example, you have the tendency to kind of fall back on your heels a little bit. So if we stay aggressive and go out and play like we did against BYU, I sincerely have no concerns. And they absolutely can do that. It's not a tall task to ask them.
You can get plus 130 on Bet365 right now if you just take the plus 7.5 first half, plus 12.5 game spread.
It's not a bad idea.
You can basically turn a spread into plus money.
Yeah,
I don't see Oklahoma doing anything like coming out and going up 21-0 and then just like hitting on the brakes or something like that. Yeah, there we go. We got Cracky in here.
Cracky, the cocaine
Yeah.
player.
Cracky
is here.
knows.
Hell yeah.
Cracky knows.
The proof is in the pudding for West Virginia. They've done it the last 2 years under Neal Brown. They won the time of possession almost 2-1 both times. Both games came down to the wire, but the difference is Oklahoma's not as good as they've been, especially 2 years ago when Caleb Williams was the quarterback. And West Virginia's a whole of a hell lot better, and they're running the ball. So I like the Mountaineers. We'll pick that game on Thursday.
I think the biggest difference in this game is going to be one team has a better coach than the other team. It's time to admit.
You know what's funny is I don't think
time
you're wrong.
to give.
You're not wrong.
If West Virginia wins out and they go to if they win out, they'll have 9 wins.
Yeah,
10.
Yeah, 9-3.
If they win out, they'll have 9 wins.
Losses.
They'll probably get into. I saw something earlier from one of the other WVU guys. They're predicted right now, like the Pop-Tarts Bowl against Dame. They beat that team. If Neal Brown wins 9 or 10 games this year, you guys got to figure out like his office address. I'm going to send him an actual bouquet of flowers. It's time to give Neal Brown his flowers, literally.
If they win out, there's a chance they make Dallas. To be honest, I mean, there's there's some scenarios.
My concern.
I would not.
Is that
If I was
State
Oklahoma State, I would not want to replay West Virginia and Dallas, though.
Yeah, no,
I would not want to replay a team that you already stomped a mud hole in, and it's not like Oklahoma State can like fully change how they're going to play the game. It would just be West Virginia has got to have a mean attitude, and I wouldn't be surprised if they replayed that game was 3 points.
If that happened, I have a 60-1 West Virginia ticket. I have a 40-1 Oklahoma State ticket.
Oh yeah,
it's my school, it's my team, and then it's my favorite coach. No matter what, I'm gonna win. So I need West Virginia, Oklahoma State for a nice payday, and one of the good guys will win the league. So
you would have to. What you would do, Ryan, if you really wanted to get risky, is if those two teams played, be like, all right, which one do I think is really gonna win, and then cash out the other one. Playing with a little bit of fire there, but.
Go balls deep.
Just sit back. I'll probably just sit back.
At 40-1 and 60-1, I would just keep them.
Yeah.
If you had one that was like 10-1 and 40-1, and one of the the 40-1 team was rolling, maybe you pull the cash out. But
I'm getting greedy there. We got to get there first. I'm getting greedy with your money, Ryan.
Yes,
Yeah,
Neal Brown never got this kind of success by getting greedy. He didn't want to go straight 10 wins right away. You've got to earn it slowly but surely.
You're not wrong.
No doubt. All right,
I just love that you guys did pick him to cover on Russia's wedding day, and then kicked the living shit out of BYU.
How much Slovis fucking didn't play? He got hurt all of a sudden. Get the fuck out of here.
I thought I picked him because it was
Russian. I did.
I was gonna say I know Ryan didn't. That's right.
Yeah, I said that this game's gonna fuck with Rush because it's scheduled on his day, and then it's gonna be a nail biter that comes down the wire and will somehow win. But I was wrong. Yeah. That was great. I was glad to be wrong. I was glad to be hammered with my phone on the dance floor, just watching a game while fucking double fisting. It was great.
We'll have to release when I get the video back of us singing Country Roads at the end. Last song threw on the West Virginia jersey real quick. We'll get that blasted on this channel.
Oh yeah,
that was cool.
Let's go. Let's go real quick. We got some good games actually. This one's underrated. Texas Tech going to Kansas. Kind of a short line. Don't you guys agree? I was kind of surprised by this. Troy?
I mean, I remember Kansas at only 3.5.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit of a short line, and Texas Tech, had a nice win last week, but some of these teams that aren't performing as well haven't done anything on the road. And we just saw Kansas completely beat down a big fade spot, a big letdown spot on the road against the Bridge. They get to come home. I don't see this as just a 3.5 point game. I think Kansas gets this one probably about the same as they got Iowa State, maybe 28-21, something like that.
Rush is a little short to you though.
Yeah, I think this is the game where it's like I kind of want to get cute with it, but don't get cute. This is like you've always picked that game, right? Like which one's like the cute pick Texas Tech's the cute pick in this one. But then Troy's right. It's like, guys, don't overthink this. Like, this is college football, and it's at Kansas. I got to digest this one a little more, but
here,
I think it's a reason
one.
the line's a little short.
That is short. And it's the letdown off Bedlam. But how do they physically stop Ollie Gordon? Like, how? We just saw it against West Virginia. I mean, this might be the too cute and you take UCF game. I've been thinking about this. Yeah, but I mean, I'm going to dive more into this. But this is disrespectful to Oklahoma State, Troy.
Yeah, this is stupid. There is
sorry.
I was just going to get 2.5. You take that before it gets up to 3 or 3.5.
Well, it actually came down.
I know, but
there's 3.5.
There's no way that. I mean, I did see people saying stuff about wrong team favored this week was UCF at home against Oklahoma State. I don't believe any of that.
The right team is
this could be
favored.
This could be a smash spot. I still think this could be a smash spot. I don't. Of all the teams in the Big 12 that have to travel to the bounce house, the one that worries me the least is the one with Capital A&M leading the way down into Florida. I'm gonna feel just at home down there.
No doubt. Rush, what were you gonna say?
Going back to the Texas Tech Kansas game, is there any truth to Kansas and Kansas State play next week, and that's why this is
that could be, but yeah, I mean it's still short.
No, it's definitely short. That is my, I guess when that is my only explanation for that one. And then I'm trying to figure out, who does Oklahoma State play next week? If there's
they have 3 newcomers to end. They have them. They have
Oklahoma
Houston,
State's going to the Big 12 championship.
Yeah. To be honest, Oklahoma State might be able to drop this game and still get there. They have every tiebreaker. They beat Kansas. They beat K-State. They beat Oklahoma. They beat West Virginia.
Play Texas.
Yeah, and they don't play. The only one they don't have is Iowa State. But I think Iowa State will definitely drop another game.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, Oklahoma State is in the driver's seat, aren't they?
Dang. Oh yeah.
There's a weird world where a team with a loss, South Alabama, is getting talked about as the 4th seed.
I wish. I don't
know if there's enough time left for the teams to lose, and I don't know if because I supremely believe the Big Ten is ultimately super duper overrated. But I don't think that the playoff committee believes that, and because of that, I don't think there's enough time to have both those teams fall back. But like right now, if Ohio State had to play Oklahoma State in the OSU versus OSU battle, I don't think it would be much more than a 3 or 4 point game. Either way.
No doubt. Yeah, they would be able to run the ball. Ohio State's offense sucks. The Ohio State fans are delusional about their team. Yes, they were able to beat Penn State because Penn State had the god-awful game plan of the year where they just didn't even throw the ball downfield at all. So, all right, let's go.
You put Olive Garden. Cracky the Cocaine Bear instead of Olive Garden. Put Olive Garden. Go back and take a hit. You got to sharpen up, Cocaine Bear. You're coming on.
That's his nickname. He's the Olive Garden.
Yeah, no, that's what Colby's been calling him.
Oh, Colby has been.
Yeah.
Olive Garden.
I thought it was like
it doesn't matter how many carries you give him. They keep bringing out soup, breadsticks, and salad.
I love that.
Ollie just keeping it to him, just over and over.
Here, don't overthink this one. Smash K-State.
Yeah.
Baylor's quit.
Yeah, I think Baylor has quit. 20.5 is still probably too big for me to say smash in terms of how big the bet would be. But I do think K-State would cover this, just early lean. After last week and turning it around and playing that second the way they did and then losing the way they did, not a good time to have to go to Manhattan.
On these guys' ass all after that.
Oh, yeah, he's got to be.
This is at least a 3-touchdown game.
Sorry, I'm throwing on Slick Rick Pitino in the background. Debut at St. John's tonight. How about this game? Dana's going to fuck them up, man.
No way Emory covers 2 weeks in a row.
No way.
It's only 2 points. So Emory Jones, in order to cover this one, would probably have to win. But there is a world where this is a 1-point game. Yeah. There's a world where this is the Emory Jones special and Houston wins like 39-38.
Cincinnati goes for 2 at the end. Emory Jones fumbles it,
Oh my
loses
God.
by 1.
Win on a 2-point conversion. Rush, here's your game. BYU, I think, is going to win this game.
This is one of my strongest predictions. Wrong team favorite, dude. Here's what people don't realize about BYU joining the Big 12. They tried to join it back in like when we were students here, Ryan, like 2015, 2016. Iowa State student government was the one that held them out and did this whole, okay, we don't need to go down that road. Difference of opinions on cultural stuff. Political, of course. Dude, well, how about the ultimate revenge for BYU to get bowl eligible and lay a beat down in Provo? And do you know what's also great about this game? It's the time slot I grew up loving, the 10-15 schedule. Big 12 BYU, when they're in Provo, should be playing at 10-15 every week.
No doubt.
Every week.
100%. And from one storyline to another, final game for the Longhorns in Fort Worth. Good luck laying 10, anybody, if you're laying Texas with this overrated ass Malik Murphy. Troy, are you all over TCU?
No, I think Texas will cover this. I don't think TCU is that good.
You do?
I really do.
I don't think
Texas is good either. I don't think Texas is good either. Just don't think TCU is anything that great. I mean,
that place is going to be lit, though.
Still got to play football.
Yeah, I think they've been all right at home. I mean, they drilled BYU a couple weeks ago. They've been killed by the injury bug. Sonny Dykes has had Texas's number, SMU, and then here at TCU. So I'm all over TCU here.
10 is a big number.
I think they're going to win outright.
I think I'm somewhere in the middle between you guys. Here's my Texas prediction. I do think they covered this game, but I think Texas maybe wins by a touchdown. I'll say 7 points. They're going to lose at Iowa State. And then that whole Yormark Thanksgiving Texas Tech comment. The one game Texas Tech just gives it all they have and everything they have. They win that game and prevent Texas from going to the Big 12 championship.
See, I think that TCU Texas Tech game last week showed us the team that is more likely to beat Texas, and that's Texas Tech.
I think that's fair.
And we've already seen that game was nationally scheduled 5 months in advance. Somebody already knew something was up in this Texas Tech game. There's a chance that Texas Tech could win that game, and it gives us some, what we predicted, a sweet 5-way tie for first place or something like that.
Man.
It'll be interesting. We'll pick it on Thursday. We're back tomorrow, 4:00 Eastern. Talk a little Big 12 basketball. Recap some of these opener. Baylor's got a big one tonight at the Pentagon against Auburn. Troy, you got the Baylor Bears winning tonight, don't you?
Yeah, that's a smash spot for Baylor.
Yeah,
Baylor's a really good basketball team.
Rush you on the Bears with us? I'm all over the Bears.
Of course. We got the cocaine bear in the chat. Got to keep rolling with the Bears. Their basketball team's got to make up for this football team. My terrible prediction.
They sacrificed the football team this year for the basketball success, possibly.
Happens.
Maybe.
I've seen it at West Virginia before.
Well, before we get out of here, Rush, tell everybody what you got going on. And like I said, we'll be back tomorrow and Thursday. It's football and basketball season.
At Rambling Rush, Twitter, Instagram. Appreciate the support. Thank you, Hasey in the chat I appreciate the congratulations. It was an amazing weekend. And there's actually a pretty cool video I put up there from the game yesterday. I wanted to, friend of the Ryan and Rush show, interim head coach, Josh Eilert. I wanted to just capture, as the seconds were ticking down, them winning. But then we stole the ball at the end and we're able to dunk behind him because I just wanted to get his emotions. It was a cool video. So go check it out. But it was great. Josh got his first win. Congratulations to him, and looking forward to covering him all season long on the Ryan and Rush show. And of course, the Big 12 college experience.
Yeah, you guys can find me right fucking here for probably every day for the next few months almost. I mean, our college basketball watch party was pretty sweet last night, besides the fact that the fucking ESPN Scorebug app on phones and computers just stopped working for an hour and a half. It was nuts. Also, all these games on ESPN Plus, and they're not going to put some of these beginning of the season really good close games on there. It doesn't make any sense. How do we not have ESPN Plus for every single one of these schools? I mean, I don't give a shit if it's a terrible feed. I want to watch the last 5 minutes of a good goddamn basketball game instead of, two major
Kansas
teams.
Up 100. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't need that. We don't need that. We need the flex scheduling for ESPN Plus.
Well, they sure as hell ain't doing it in the NFL. The top 25 is coming out right now. K-State's 25, Oklahoma 17, Kansas 16, OK State 15. That's the college football invitational. They're going to the top 10 right now. But yeah, you guys, Troy mentioned it. We are there every single night on the Big 12 college basketball experience, talking Big 12 college hoops. If you haven't checked out, I mean, there's still time to place futures. Go check out our Big 12 preview that all three of us did with Colby. I think it was about 3 hours. So there's plenty of Big 12 team-by-team breakdown. And I released it on our feed of the Apple and Spotify. So it's on our Big 12 feed for the audio purposes as well.
Yeah, when you're out there mowing the grass, just put the headphones on, baby.
Yeah, man. I mean, we got it all over here on TCE. Go check out the College Football Experience Wednesday Night Pick Show, Bottom Line Bombs with CJ Sullivan. If you just want to watch Patty C get hammered,
obliterated,
go check out that. I mean, those guys, they do a Maction show every Monday. I know Maction's kicking off right now. It really is the best time of year. I mean,
Patty C has a lot to celebrate right now with JMU.
Oh, I know.
They were two of the leading headlines for ESPN today. Why do I have balloons coming? I did the rock.
Do the.
That's fucking stupid ass shit's doing again.
How did that happen? How does that happen? Oh my gosh. No.
I don't
the
get
iPhone's
it.
drunk again. All right. Show's
It
over.
is, yeah. All right, guys. See you guys in a couple hours on the college basketball experience. And horns down, baby. Let's go TCU. Go Frogs. And go Mountaineers. And I guess for Rush, let's get some balloons and freaking Chuck E. Cheese lights. Let it ride, and we're out of here.